You know, before AI came along, there was some balance in tech. I mean, if you tried to learn how to code, you possibly go to a boot camp, you possibly go to college, maybe you're just self-taught entirely. You do the work, you make mistakes, you hustle and hustle, get the interview, and then you get the job. That was the balance. Then AI came along, and then it said, hey, so what if we just got rid of all of that? And what if you just didn't know all the tiny little things that matter? What if you just typed in a prompt and then you got your answer? Now programmers, especially the new breed of programmers, are struggling a lot to get a job because kind of the junior role is taken over, and it's kind of unfortunate, it's unfair. I came in during COVID time where COVID was my problem. Now you guys have AI as your problem. The problem is, with all this being said, nobody is learning the tiny little lessons from the thousands or dozens of mistakes along the way. So, like I started this channel with a list of things I learned while I was learning how to code. I am now about 6 to 7 years into my tech journey as a programmer, and here are some lessons that I've learned along the way. If you guys have been around long enough, you know that this channel was started off the concept of making mistakes, being dumb, and just asking questions. AI is kind of in the way of that right now. So with that being said, as someone who still enjoys coding, I don't think I'll ever be a super locked in 10x programmer. I don't think that's the goal I want to have for myself, and that's okay. As a reminder, you're allowed to like coding as just a general job. You don't have to be obsessed with it. You're not going to be as good at it as someone who is obsessed with it, but that's okay. You're allowed to make it a job, and that's it. You don't have to be super technical about everything. You don't have to be on top of everything all the time. You don't have to go to every convention known to man. Yes, your career might be affected differently, but make peace with that, but also don't feel guilty about it. You could be good at your job and not be obsessive about it. Now, with that being said, just in general, what have I learned while I've been in the tech field? A lot, because I've made a lot of mistakes. Lesson number one, being a people person can actually carry you a lot through tech. Years in, I'm still a horrible interviewer when it comes to technical interviews. Every other stage of the interview, I pass flying colors. Technical interviews, something about test taking right in front of someone is just comedically annoying. I think my favorite type of technical interview is the type of interview where you go through an old project you've worked on with an interviewer and they ask you technical questions on the fly, why you made certain decisions, what you could have done better. I think that generally shows your passions. It handles your thought process, handles your creativity, handles your ability to reflect on mistakes you've made. It covers a lot more than just going over a take-home project that nobody's ever gonna look at again. It covers a lot more than just going over elite code, because a lot of people can get really good at elite code, but are horrible communicators, horrible problem solvers. They just are very good at memorizing. So with that being said, personality carries. How you present what you're passionate about. Learn how to talk about things that you're interested in. Learn how to say, hey, I was really bad at this confused me, this took me a while to implement. They enjoy hearing that. It's a breath of fresh air. Lesson number two, you need to understand the why behind why you're doing the thing you're doing. This applies to your career, and this applies to your side project, this applies to anything. Of course, it's a great thing to get excited and just jump into something, you know, but I think when you're going into a bigger code base or you're trying to work on a side project and you don't want to burn out, it's very important to just sit down and plan. When it comes to your career, do I want this promotion for my ego, for the money? Do I care about the money? How far is this money gonna go? Get this promotion, you get the position, you work so hard to get there, and then you end up being miserable because you're on call all the time. But yeah, you make $500K a year, but you're sad and you are unfulfilled. So whether you wanna work at one of the big tech jobs or whether you wanna work on your own personal side project, raise some money, understand your why, because it is going to directly impact how much energy you put into this thing, how much love you have for this thing, how much passion you have, how much you're willing to see it through. Here's an easy one that can be easy to forget. Do not lie in your interviews. When you don't know something, just say you don't know. Literally just say you don't know. We don't have to lie. Just be honest. I don't know. I've never heard of that thing, sir, ma'am. Sir, ma'am, you could just say, I don't know, and sometimes if you're having a good interviewer, they will be happy to educate you or give you a general overview. And it's to your benefit, because if you have a good interviewer who is good at explaining a certain concept while they're trying to interview you, they will get a chance to see your genuine ability to problem solve, whether you get stuck or not. When you do get stuck, I don't think it's going to be held against you as much as you pretending to know something, because now when you're stuck, you just look dumb because you pretended to know. Now it's time to point out the obvious thing, and you're lost. Not all interview failures are your fault. Sometimes you are unlucky and just simply have a horrible interviewer. You need to know the difference between a good interviewer and a bad interviewer. Same if you are also interviewing people. Please understand that a lot of these people who are interviewing you are some guy who's just trying to work his normal day job and their team isn't big enough to have a dedicated interviewer. So they are the unlucky senior software engineer who has to run these interviews. Maybe they signed up for it because they think they're so knowledgeable, and turns out they're not even a people person, and then they can't get the best out of you in an interview. An interviewer's job is to get the best out of you and for you to give your best. That's a skillful interviewer, not to make you nervous for the sake of being nervous. It's like being in school and a professor is like, oh yeah, 90% of people fail or drop out of my class. That's not a show of how difficult the lesson is. It's a show of how bad of a teacher that professor is. And I wish I knew that when I was younger, because every time a professor said that when I was in school, or if I had a teacher that said that, I'd be like, you're bad at your job. Your literal job is to teach me and make sure I understand this as easily as possible. Not to overcomplicate the process and increase anxiety because it's fun. Ask questions. I've said this before and I'll keep saying this. Stop trying to look smarter than you are. Be dumb and ask questions. This channel is called Dummy Codes because we're not afraid to ask questions constantly. Granted, don't ask questions in a way that makes the other person feel like they're doing the job for you. I've done that on accident. Wasn't trying to, and you can literally see how annoyed they get. And I get it, you have imposter syndrome, but the best way to deal with imposter syndrome is to ask questions. My least favorite thing when I join a new company or start working with someone new and they start using acronyms, and I don't think it's a bad thing, but a lot of people don't realize that not everyone knows every acronym that's going on in your head. So to them, it's just, again, they're in this process of knowing these acronyms because they use it day in, day out. But when I'm just a new person at this job, instead of being like, I'm like, I'm sorry, what does that mean? What does that stand for? And sometimes it's a trivial thing, sometimes it's an important thing. It's very important for you to take every beat where you're truly lost and just ask the question, get it out, and usually getting the answer takes less than half a second. Unfortunately for my last one, I think I will add, you need to be worried about AI. There is a level of programmer that's gonna be fine. I think experience-wise, I'm going to be fine if I wanna take the working for someone else route any longer. But if you're new to coding, you need to find a way to integrate AI into your learning experience. I think it should be used as a helper and not as just an answer machine. Sometimes when I'm stuck on something, but I really am being stubborn and I wanna understand, I will ask Claude or ChatGPT to give me a hint. Not tell me the whole problem, not tell me the whole answer, just give me a hint. I think I can do it, I just need a little hint. I've also noticed when I'm working on a side project, it's very it takes the joy out of it to even the setup process, using AI to set it up. The point of a side project, any reason a programmer will do a side project. What's up, dude? Oh, you're hungry. I think a lot of reasons why anyone would do a side project on a weekend or anything, because it's fun and it's intriguing. It's like doing a puzzle piece. Yeah, you could have a full picture ready and put together and everything, but putting something together is what tickles your brain. I started doing lead code problems in the morning, not because I need to practice for a lead code type interview. It's just because I wanted to have a better understanding of algorithms and data structures, and I found it fun to do it for 30 minutes a day. No pressure. Have fun, practice, enjoy, and understand that life's unfair and we don't get to dictate how people who sign our checks handle hiring, handle firing, unfortunately. We're not in those rooms where people are like, yeah, let's replace half our programmers and just say AI is gonna handle it. We're not in those rooms. They don't understand us. So please be as ready. If you plan on working for someone else for the rest of your life, which is perfectly fine, please take time to sharpen up your technical skill set. There was a time where mine dipped, and I still think it's dipping because I started depending on AI a little bit too much. Then I started hating programming a little bit too much because it just wasn't as fun. So I try to use it as little as possible, and sometimes I fail when I'm stuck. Personal problem. Anyways, that's my list of things I've learned in the past 6 years in tech. It's weird because when I started this channel, the first video was 8 things I learned from nonstop programming when I was learning how to code. Now that I have some experience, I have some opinions, but we'll see how things pan out because apparently tech is changing greatly and I'm in the middle of it like the rest of you. First it was COVID, now it's AI. Don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll become a consultant, but even that's made up and they use ChatGPT, so they got us. Have a good day, please subscribe, follow me on Instagram.